Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Let's talk mortgage. Question is, what do I have to do to apply for a mortgage loan? The short answer is you fill out the application and you submit it. That's the short form. The long form, if you're applying for a mortgage loan, let's say you're a first-time home buyer, well, there's the application. Then there's the documentation. The documentation seemingly can be a testing issue in terms of your patience because it can get microscopic depending on where you are in terms of your life cycle. In other words, if you're young and you have minimal cash reserves, you have minimal assets, then the lender's going to be more diligent as opposed to somebody who is working with a second-time home buyer. In other words, you bought your first house, then you're rolling up to another higher-priced house. Now you have a family and so on and so forth. But you have a well-established career. You have sizable assets. You have a great credit score, and you're not self-employed. Now, if you're self-employed, that just requires a whole ton of patience and a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's in order to get approved. I owned a mortgage company for a long, long time. The problem here is you're working with a entry-level processor, loan processor on the other end. And they generally are inexperienced and they're a real pain in the butt, okay? Because they ultimately hold the golden key to processing that information from point A to point B. And I had an argument after argument after argument with mostly the incompetence of loan processors. The reason being, they lack any common sense. They're working off a checklist. And if your documentation doesn't match the information specifically, as noted in this checklist, they're going to deny your loan moving to the next process. So as a mortgage broker at the time, I had to build a great relationship with either the managers or the account rep because these processors come and go. It's a never-ending challenge. So from your point of view, be patient. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're a seasoned buyer. You know the process can be a real pain in the butt. That is the reality of applying for a loan. On the surface, what is required? Well, you're going to need to include your name, your income, your social security number, the address of the home you plan to purchase or refinance, an estimate of the home's value, the loan amount you want to borrow. Okay, that's just to apply. Then the requirement is show us your W-2s, show us your tax returns, show us your bank statements, show us the appraisal, any contingencies, any home repairs prior to the sign off, the seller's acceptance, the other escrow instructions, and a whole lot more. Okay, although you're not required to provide documents in order to get a loan estimate, it's a good idea to share what you have with the lender. The more information the lender has, the more accurate this loan estimate will be. It's a good idea to request loan estimates from several lenders. That way, you can compare your options and choose the best loan for you. Each lender is required to send you a loan estimate within 3 business days of receiving your 6 key pieces of information once you're ready to choose a loan officer. Now, keep in mind, if you're applying for a loan as opposed to accepting that quasi-offer, in other words, you've shopped for loans, you're working with lender ABC, you've made that commitment, then you can start supplying all your documentations. Don't provide anything other than the minimal if you're just trying to get a loan estimate. There's a big difference. Applying for a loan is one thing. Moving forward with a loan is altogether different. And that's why I've extended my comments a little more in detail. Once you're ready to choose a loan offer, you need to notify the lender that you're ready to proceed with the loan application. If you don't notify a lender that you'd like to proceed within 10 business days, the lender may revise the loan estimate or close your application as incomplete, and you may need to start over. The 10 business days are calculated from when the lender delivers the loan estimate to you or places it in the mail, whichever is earlier. Once you've notified the lender that you'd like to proceed with an application, the lender may ask you to provide additional information and documents to verify the information you have already submitted. The lender processes this information may follow up with you to request additional information or clarification. Once the lender has received all the necessary information, the lender approves or denies your loan application. That's it. These are just 4 paragraphs that seemingly make it a snap, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge. A comment. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're confused, if you're in the process right now and the lender is dancing. And don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if you piss off the lender. They can intentionally delay this process. You just never know the little stuff that they'll pull, and you'll lose your lock. And if you lose your lock, you may have to relock, and there could be a cost. So don't be a jerk when you go through this process, because there's that golden rule: he who has the money rules. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped. See you soon.